Hi, I'm Grace.
And I'm James. Welcome to English Lab Stories podcast. Grace, imagine this. Thousands of people are gathered at one of the biggest music festivals in the world. The lights go down, the crowd begins to scream, and a group of Korean artists walks onto the stage. The audience knows every song. They sing along in Korean, even though many of them don't speak the language. A few decades ago, this would have seemed almost impossible.
It really would. But today, Korean artists perform at major festivals, fill enormous stadiums, and attract millions of fans from countries all over the world. K-pop is no longer popular only in South Korea. It has become a global phenomenon. But how did that happen? How did music from one relatively small country become such an important part of global pop culture?
That's exactly what we're going to discover today. And the answer is much more interesting than simply saying, the songs are catchy. The story involves cultural change, television, technology, carefully trained performers, passionate fans, and one musical performance that shocked South Korea in the early 1990s.
So, where should we begin?
Let's go back to 1992. At that time, Korean television was much more traditional than it is today. Popular music usually followed familiar styles, and performances were expected to respect certain rules. Then, a new group appeared on a television talent show. They were called Seo Taiji and Boys.
And they didn't look or sound like the singers people were used to seeing. Their music combined Korean lyrics with rap, hip-hop, rock, and electronic sounds. Their clothes, choreography, and attitude also felt completely different. They were young, energetic, and rebellious.
On the talent show, the judges gave them one of the lowest scores of the evening. But something unexpected happened. Young viewers loved them. Their song became enormously popular, and Seo Taiji and Boys helped change the direction of Korean popular music.
That's interesting. The judges weren't impressed, but the audience recognized that something new was happening.
Exactly. They showed the Korean music industry that young people were ready for new sounds, stronger visual performances, and songs that reflected their own experiences. Many people now consider their debut an important turning point in the development of modern K-pop.
But one successful group doesn't create an entire global industry. Something else must have happened after that.
It did. Music companies began developing a completely new system, one designed to create artists who could sing, dance, perform, and connect with audiences. And that system would eventually transform Korean music forever.
Are you talking about the famous K-pop trainee system?
Exactly. During the 1990s, Korean entertainment companies began creating a more organized way to prepare young performers. Instead of simply finding a singer and recording an album, companies started searching for people with potential and training them before their official debut.
So, becoming a K-pop idol usually begins long before the public ever sees the artist.
That's right. Many future idols are discovered through auditions. Some audition in person, while others are noticed online or approached by talent scouts. If they are accepted by a company, they become trainees. They may study singing, dancing, acting, public speaking, and foreign languages. They also learn how to perform in front of cameras and communicate with fans.
That sounds like a full-time education in entertainment.
In many cases, it is. Trainees can practice for several hours a day, sometimes while continuing their regular education. They are frequently evaluated, and there is no guarantee that they will ever make their debut. Some train for a few months, others train for several years.
That must be difficult. You could spend years preparing without knowing whether you'll actually become part of a group.
Absolutely. The system can create highly skilled performers, but it can also be extremely competitive. Entertainment companies may have many trainees, but choose only a small number for a new group. They consider each person's voice, dancing ability, personality, appearance, and how well they work with the other members.
So the company isn't just selecting talented individuals, it's trying to build a balanced team.
Exactly. One member might be an especially strong singer. Another might be an excellent dancer or rapper. Some members may be particularly confident during interviews or skilled at connecting with international audiences. The company also develops the group's name, musical style, visual identity, and overall concept.
And this approach became especially important during the 1990s, right?
Yes, in 1995, producer Lee Soo-man established SM Entertainment. The company helped develop a systematic approach to discovering, training, and managing pop groups. Other influential companies, including YG Entertainment and JYP Entertainment, also emerged during this period. Together, these companies helped shape the modern K-pop industry.
And one of the earliest groups created through this new system was HOT.
That's right. HOT debuted in 1996 and became enormously popular with young audiences. Their success demonstrated that carefully produced Korean idol groups could build a powerful and loyal fan base. But K-pop wasn't going to remain inside South Korea for very long.
Because before K-pop conquered the world, it first began spreading across Asia.
Exactly. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, Korean entertainment began attracting attention in other parts of Asia. Korean television dramas became popular in countries such as China and Japan, while Korean singers and idol groups began developing international fan bases. This growing interest became known as the Korean Wave, or Hallyu.
And music wasn't spreading alone. People would watch a Korean drama, become interested in the actors, listen to the soundtrack, and then start exploring Korean music, fashion, food, and culture.
That connection was extremely important. Television dramas introduced international audiences to Korean culture, while music programs and concerts allowed K-pop artists to reach those audiences directly. Groups such as HOT, SES, Shinhwa, and later TVXQ became popular beyond South Korea.
But entering another country's music industry couldn't have been easy. There were language barriers and cultural differences.
That's true. So entertainment companies began preparing artists for specific international markets. Some singers learned foreign languages, recorded versions of their songs in other languages, and appeared on local television programs. A great example is Boa. She debuted in South Korea in 2000 when she was only 13 years old. She later became extremely successful in Japan and helped demonstrate that a Korean artist could build a long-term career in another major Asian music market.
13 years old? That shows how early the training could begin. And her success must have encouraged Korean companies to think beyond their own country.
It did. Then TVXQ became another important example. The group developed a large following in Japan and performed in some of the country's biggest venues. These artists helped create a path that later K-pop groups could follow.
So, before people in the United States or Europe were regularly talking about K-pop, it already had a strong international presence across Asia.
Exactly. This regional success taught entertainment companies several valuable lessons. They learned how to communicate with foreign audiences, organize international promotions, and adapt their content without completely losing its Korean identity.
And fans also played an important role, didn't they?
Definitely. Fans created communities, collected albums, attended concerts, learned Korean lyrics, and shared information about their favorite artists. Even before modern social media, dedicated fans found ways to connect with one another and spread Korean music.
But reaching fans in another country still depended heavily on television networks, record companies, and physical albums.
Yes, and that limited how quickly K-pop could grow. Then, a new tool changed everything. Artists no longer needed to wait for a foreign television channel to introduce them to an international audience. Their performances could suddenly be watched anywhere in the world.
Because the internet had arrived, and K-pop was perfectly prepared for it.
That's right. When YouTube launched in 2005, music videos and live performances could reach international audiences almost instantly. K-pop companies quickly recognized this opportunity. They began uploading music videos, dance practices, interviews, and behind-the-scenes content for anyone to watch. This growing interest became known as the Korean Wave, or Hallyu.
That was a major change. Before YouTube, an international fan might never see a Korean music program or find a Korean album in a local store. Now, all they needed was an internet connection.
And K-pop was especially well-suited to online video. The songs were catchy, but the visual experience was equally important. Colorful music videos, synchronized choreography, creative fashion, and memorable performances could attract viewers even when they didn't understand the lyrics.
Fans also began helping one another understand the content. They translated interviews, added subtitles, explained cultural references, and shared songs through online communities.
Exactly. International fans weren't simply consuming K-pop, they were actively promoting it. They created fan pages, dance covers, reaction videos, and online discussions. This gave Korean artists a level of international exposure that would have been extremely expensive through traditional media.
Groups such as Girls' Generation, Super Junior, Big Bang, and 2NE1 began gaining fans far beyond Asia. But there was one moment when the entire world seemed to suddenly notice Korean pop music.
You're talking about Gangnam Style.
Of course! In 2012, the South Korean artist Psy released a humorous music video featuring an unforgettable dance. The song was energetic, funny, and easy to share, even for people who had never listened to K-pop before.
The video spread incredibly quickly. People recreated the dance at schools, parties, television shows, and public events around the world. Later that year, Gangnam Style became the first YouTube video to reach 1 billion views.
That was an extraordinary achievement. But was Gangnam Style really representative of the entire K-pop industry?
Not exactly. The song was partly a humorous commentary on the wealthy lifestyle associated with the Gangnam district of Seoul. Many international viewers enjoyed the video without understanding that social message. Still, its success proved something important. A song performed mainly in Korean could become a worldwide hit.
So Gangnam Style opened a door, but K-pop still needed artists who could build a lasting global connection.
That's right. And during the following years, social media became even more powerful. Fans could communicate directly with artists, organize global campaigns, stream new releases together, and introduce K-pop to friends in real time.
The Korean wave was no longer moving slowly from one country to another. It was spreading everywhere at once.
And soon, groups such as BTS and BLACKPINK would take K-pop to a level the industry had never reached before.
BTS debuted in 2013, but their international success didn't happen overnight. What made their journey different?
Several things came together. Their music explored subjects such as pressure, identity, ambition, mental health, and the difficulties young people face. Those themes felt personal and relatable to listeners in many different countries.
They also used social media differently from many traditional celebrities. Fans could watch informal videos, follow their daily experiences, and see more of their personalities away from the stage.
That created a powerful emotional connection. Their fan base, known as ARMY, translated content, shared performances, organized online campaigns, and introduced the group to new audiences. The relationship between BTS and their fans became a major force behind their international growth.
And eventually, that online popularity produced enormous results in the traditional music industry.
It certainly did. BTS reached the top of major international music charts, performed at important award shows, sold out stadiums, and delivered speeches at the United Nations. They proved that Korean-speaking artists could build a dedicated global audience without abandoning their language or identity.
Then, BLACKPINK helped expand K-pop's influence even further.
Yes, BLACKPINK debuted in 2016 with a combination of powerful performances, distinctive fashion, confident personalities, and highly polished music videos. Their songs often combined Korean and English, which made some parts easier for international audiences to remember and sing.
In 2019, they became the first K-pop girl group to perform at Coachella. Then, in 2023, they returned as headliners. That was an important symbol of how much K-pop's position had changed.
It was a historic moment. K-pop artists were no longer appearing at international events as a curiosity or temporary trend. They had become some of the main attractions, and the movement continued to grow. Groups such as EXO, Twice, 17, Stray Kids, and many others developed large international audiences of their own.
What I find especially interesting is that these groups don't all sound the same. The term K-pop includes many different influences: hip-hop, electronic music, R&B, rock, and even classical elements.
That's an important point. K-pop isn't one specific musical style. It is better understood as an entertainment industry that combines music with choreography, visual storytelling, fashion, technology, and constant interaction with fans.
And by this point, the world wasn't only listening to Korean music. People were learning Korean, buying Korean products, watching Korean films and dramas, and becoming interested in the country's culture.
K-pop had become part of something much larger, but its global success raises another question. Why is this industry so effective at capturing and maintaining people's attention?
To answer that, we need to look at the carefully designed experience behind every comeback, performance, and fan interaction.
Every K-pop release is designed as a complete experience. The song is important, but so are the choreography, fashion, music video, and concept.
Even the release of a new album becomes an event. Companies publish photos, short videos, and previews that keep fans curious for weeks.
This is often called a comeback, even when the group never truly disappeared. Each comeback may introduce a different visual style or story.
Fans also feel included in the journey. They watch behind-the-scenes videos, learn the choreography, collect albums, and communicate with other fans online.
That participation creates a strong sense of community. K-pop gives people more than music. It gives them an experience they can share with others.
So the secret is a combination of talented performers, memorable visuals, careful promotion, and passionate fans.
Yes, but creating such polished performances requires a great deal of work. And behind that perfection, there can be a more difficult reality.
K-pop artists often face intense pressure. They may follow demanding schedules, practice for long hours, travel constantly, and live under public attention.
Trainees may also spend years preparing without ever making their debut. Even successful artists can face criticism about their appearance, behavior, or personal lives.
In recent years, more artists have spoken openly about exhaustion, anxiety, and the need to protect their mental health.
That conversation is important. We can admire the creativity and discipline behind K-pop while also recognizing that performers need rest, privacy, and fair treatment.
The story of K-pop is remarkable. It grew from a changing music scene in South Korea into a worldwide cultural movement.
Technology helped it travel, but talented artists and dedicated fans helped it remain successful.
And now, we'd love to hear from you. Which K-pop artist or group introduced you to this music?
Tell us in the comments, and thank you for listening to English Lab Stories.
Keep listening, keep learning, and keep speaking with confidence.